verse. You want to read it?
Yes, I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters.
Read on.
Oh, Srila Jiva Goswami in his thesis, Bhakti Sundarbha, has stated that uncontaminated devotional service is the objective of pure Vaishnavism, and that one has to execute such service in the association of other devotees. By associating with devotees of Lord Krishna, one develops a sense of Krishna consciousness and thus becomes inclined toward the loving service of the Lord. This is the process of approaching the Supreme Lord by gradual appreciation and devotional service. If one desires unalloyed devotional service, one must associate with devotees of Sri Krishna, for by such association only can a conditioned soul achieve a taste of transcendental love and thus revive his eternal relationship with Godhead in a specific manifestation and in terms of the specific transcendental mellow that one has eternally inherent in him. If one develops love for Krishna by Krishna conscious activities, one can know the supreme absolute truth. But he who tries to understand God simply by logical arguments will not succeed, nor will he get a taste for unalloyed devotion. The secret is that one must submissively listen to those who know perfectly in the science of God, and one who must begin the mode of service regulated by the preceptor. A devotee already attracted to the name, form, qualities, etc. of the Supreme Lord may be directed to a specific manner of devotional service. He need not waste time in approaching the Lord through logic. The expert spiritual master knows well how to engage his disciples' energy in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and thus he engages a devotee in specific devotional service according to his special tendency. A devotee must have only one initiating spiritual master because in the scripture, acceptance of more than one is always forbidden. There is no limit, however, to the number of instructing spiritual masters one may accept. Generally, a spiritual master who constantly instructs a disciple in spiritual science becomes his initiating spiritual master later on. One should always remember that a person who is reluctant to accept a spiritual master and be initiated is sure to be baffled in his endeavors to go back to Godhead. One who is not properly initiated may present himself as a great devotee, but in fact, he is sure to encounter many stumbling blocks on his path to progress towards spiritual realization, with the result that he must continue his term of material existence without relief. Such a helpless person is compared to a ship without a rudder, for such a ship can never reach its destination. It is imperative, therefore, that one accept a spiritual master if he at all desires to gain the favor of the Lord. The service of the spiritual master is essential. If there is no chance to serve the spiritual master directly, a devotee should serve him by remembering his instructions. There is no difference between the spiritual master's instruction and the spiritual master himself. In his absence, therefore, his words of direction should be pride of the disciple. If one thinks that he's above consulting anyone else, including a spiritual master, he is at once an offender at the lotus feet of the Lord. Such an offender can never go back to Godhead. It is imperative that a serious person accept a bona fide spiritual master in terms of strict injunctions. Sir Jiva Goswami advises that one not accept a spiritual master in terms of heredity or customary social or ecclesiastical conventions. One should simply try to find a genuine qualified spiritual master for actual advancement and spiritual understanding.
You saw that?
Yes.
You understand now? There's no difference.
Yes.
Yes, here there's no difference between the spiritual masters, you know. Now, where's that? So therefore, a spiritual master is really essential. And you know, that's a big problem actually. Many of them get initiated by this Ritvik system, and they think that they are only gurus, Prabhupada, and they don't have to, you know, take a direction from anybody else, you know. That's the pitfall, you know.
Yes.
They think they got Prabhupada and his books and that's it, you know. Of course, yes, you can, if you can understand them, nobody is going to stop you. If you are not strictly following, that's very difficult for you to get realizations from Prabhupada directly, you know.
Well, when Prabhupada translated
Mm,
the Bhagavad Gita
mm,
and he put in the purports,
yes.
before he did that, was the Bhagavad Gita just simply in Sanskrit and everybody had to read it and make their own
No,
interpretation of what the
no, no,
scripture was?
no. In Sanskrit, and there were purports by the acharyas. If you open your Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse in the front. It's called Govinda Bhashya by Vishwanath Chakravarti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given the purports, which Prabhupada has used extensively in translating his Bhagavad Gita into English. So you have to have purports to understand. Without the help of the spiritual master, you cannot understand these things. You understand? It is
I do.
explained in this verse, in this verse. This verse is from Mahabharata. So let me take it out for you. It is. It says Tarka Pravista Vibhina. Let me take it out so you can read. You know, Mahabharata. It is, this thing is hidden in the heart of the pure devotee, you know. Okay, let me get it out, huh? Give me a minute.
Well, that's why in your lectures, when you put different verses up,
Hmm.
when I listen to you, then I understand differently on what I read. So I read it with my understanding, and then you give me your understanding, which changes mine.
Yeah, because my understanding is based on realizations supported by scriptural evidences. Understand? I don't just speak my mind off. Whereas when you read, you may opinionate.
Yes.
You understand? That's different, you know. You understand that point? So therefore, you have to always have supporting statements from the scriptures, and that will justify your realization. Otherwise, it just become mental speculation, you know. You don't know, you may think that way, you know. You understand?
Well, that's what I like, because you say something and then you pull up the scripture that explains what you just said. So they're not your words, they're the words of the scripture.
Yes, very authoritative, you know. You want to read that? You want to read it loud?
Oh yes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Maharaj advocate.
So you see, the solid truth of religious principle is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. So you want to know the scripture, you must go to a acharya, you know. You cannot try to buy the book and learn Sanskrit and try to figure it out, you know. That's not the way.
Oh,
So it says it's hidden. This truth is solid truth of religious principle is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. You follow this point?
yes,
That means you must go to an acharya who's coming in a disciplic succession. You understand? And that I can't just who is that person? I mean, I speculate on that. That also is not. You cannot speculate on that. That also is specific persons are there. You know, it is explained here in this verse. Everything is spelled out. You know, it's not that you figure out. You know, that's not possible. You know, understand?
I do.
Once once you think that you can figure it out, like what's happening in ISKCON now, everything is finished. You know, you follow.
Oh, I do.
These guys are speculating everything now. They're making woman gurus. They're making they're worshipping demigods. I mean, there's no stoppage to what they're not going to do. You know, guys, it's completely.
No, and it seems like in Ishkan, they are trying to make men and women equal. And because in the United States, they got the thing where there's equality between the sexes, but there really isn't equality between the sexes.
It's a
Krishna made men and women
myth,
different, and he gave us different qualities.
right? It's a myth.
We have an equal soul, but we don't have an equal body. So women have a role in, but people get angry when you say that, because they say no, it's everybody's equal, but they're not. We
What?
have been.
Why don't you
I,
bring?
I have
Why
I
don't?
have probably been a woman 1,000 times in previous lives.
Yeah. Why don't you bring the gorilla or something or tiger and live with them? You know, it's equal. No. Why just the woman? Come on, go to your house, bring the gorilla or a tiger and sleep with him. No,
Oh,
equal with everybody. No, correct? Why just
correct.
why just the women?
But
Oh,
they don't want to recognize that there's differences. But
and
the scriptures
you
tells us there's
identify
differences.
with the body.
Prabhupada told us.
When you identify with the body, then you want your body to become the first class. You attach. You want to see your body as the best in everything. So when you are put down, you don't like that because you identify with the body. That's the bodily disease. You understand? You're
Yes,
very attached to it. You're very, very attached and you want to enjoy it to the max. So when they say, look, your body is not very good, then they don't like that. Just like if I say Americans are not very high class people, then nobody likes that. No American will like it, correct?
correct.
This is the bodily disease. So in this verse, you see how the religious authorities are spelled out. So there are 12 of them, Lord Brahma, Bhagavan, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devuti, Swayambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami and myself know the real religious principle. My dear servant, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavad Dharma or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for Him is uncontaminated by material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for you, ordinary human being, to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, is immediately liberated and thus he returns home back to Godhead. So our line is coming from Lord Brahma. See, if you look at the parampara, Lord Brahma's name is listed after Lord Krishna.
Yes.
See? So you must have this lineage, otherwise you can read the purport.
In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna refers to the Bhagavad Dharma as the most confidential religious principle. Sarva
Guyat
Gunam
Guyatamam.
Gudantamam
Guyat Guyataram.
Guyet Gudatamam.
Yes.
Krishna says to Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, I am explaining to you the most confidential religion. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. One may ask, if this principle is very rarely understood, what is the use of it? In answer, Yarmaja states herein that all this religious principle is understandable if one follows the parampara system of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the four Kumaras, and the other standard authorities. There are four lines of disciplic succession, one from Lord Brahma, one from Lord Shiva, and one from Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and one from the Kumaras. This disciplic succession from Lord Brahma is called the Brahma Samapradaya. The succession from Lord Shiva, Sambhu, is called the Brahma
The Rudra Sampradaya.
Sampradaya. The succession from Lord Shiva, Sambhu, is called the Ruda Sampradaya. And the one from the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is called the Sri Sampradaya, and one from the Kumaras is called the Kumara Sapaya. One must take
Shelter.
shelter in one of these Sampradayas in order to understand the most confidential religious system. And the Padma Purana,
Padma Purana.
it is said Sampradaya Vina. If one does not follow the four recognized disciplic successions, his mantra or initiation is useless. In the present day, there are many
Upper
asampradayas
Sampradaya. Upper
which
Sampradaya.
which are not bona fide, which have no link to authorities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, or Lakshmi. People are misguided by such sampradayas. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is useless waste of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principles.
So this is the guideline, that how you understand things. You must understand things if you're connected properly. If you're not connected properly, even though you may be also going to those devotees who are connected properly, but if they are not sufficiently, what we say, enlightened with knowledge, then they also cannot help you. That's why
But
Prabhupada said you must approach a first-class devotee.
so we're in the Brahma succession line, but who is in the Lakshmi line? Where are those people?
They are in South India mostly, and they have
But
the very big tilak on their head, I don't know, you have seen.
yes,
Yeah, they are called the Ramanujas.
so but they're bona fide
Yes,
back to Lord Krishna as well.
yes. But I think, in my experience, in Kali Yuga now, most of the sampradayas are very much dormant. They don't have the preaching zeal has been exhibited by Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, see, I have no access to them. I don't have any exposure to them being in the States.
The fact that
But
you're not,
there are temples like um, in the Woodlands. There's a brand new Hindu temple. Um,
that is not that they are Hindus, But the thing is,
yeah,
many Hindus worship demigods. The sampradayas don't worship demigods. And the reason and the very fact that you're not exposed to them shows that they are very, what do we say, docile.
yes.
They're not permanent. Unless you preach, you're not alive. Preaching makes the
Well,
sampradaya alive.
I saw in the news somewhere that Ishkan was opening a new temple. I forget where it was, in Boston or someplace, where they were actually installing demigods for deities in the temple. I didn't understand how they could do that.
Yes, because they have actually lost their spiritual zeal. They have now degraded to kind of a Hindu social kind of worshipping temple.
I had I had have some very dear friends that are in Ishkan, and they are they are trying to worship Krishna and throw themselves at the lotus feet, but they are with gurus who aren't, they're not doing it correctly. They worship demigods and they're doing crazy things, and there's
Yes.
gurus that are more interested in writing books and being with women than they are on leading souls back to Krishna. And I don't know how to reach them because they
And
think I'm crazy because
the,
I came here.
mm,
They think I'm wrong.
yes, now you can see by coming here how you can see they have lost their. Just now we read, if the person is not having a bona fide spiritual master and is not properly connected, then he's like a ship without the rudder.
Yes.
You understand? And they will encounter so many problems, in their, what we say, unauthorized practices. So it's a sad story. Actually, the terminology of ISKCON is it's gone.
Yeah. But
Buddhism
there's so many people that are really honestly trying to to be Krishna consciousness, and I mean they're really sincere people.
yeah, if they're sincere, they'll be like you. They'll come here.
Well, I don't know enough. That's my problem. I don't.
No, you are
I
learning.
started.
Now,
so late.
no, now you're learning. I'm teaching you. Yes, at least you know more than them. That's for sure.
Oh no, I don't know anything. I just
You may not.
I wish I did.
You may not be able to quote, and explain. You understand? But at least they cannot convince you other way around.
No, not now.
They can't.
I was there for 6 years, and they kept trying to initiate me, and I kept saying no, not yet. And then when I met Sevananda on Facebook, he started me here, and all of a sudden, what I thought made sense really makes different sense now.
Yes, it all makes sense only if you know the scriptures.
Well,
You're not enlightened by your guru, then you cannot explain.
I'm glad that Krishna kept me from going there, because it never felt right, and it didn't feel right until I came here.
Yes.
So, and then I met you, and then you're like my lantern that lights my path. You're showing me the way.
Well, that is my service to Prabhupada. Whatever I am saying is coming only through him. I don't
Yeah.
never say anything. If at all I get some credit, only for that reason, just trying to repeat what Prabhupada have said.
Well, I love you for it. It is you're 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 helping me immensely, and it's making a difference.
That is the, what we say, the heart of a devotee. They are always trying to help everybody. That's the difference between the devotee and the non-devotees. The non-devotees try to exploit. And the gurus, they're very expert in exploiting everybody for their sense gratification. Whereas a real devotee is only wanting to uplift another person on the path of Krishna consciousness. So there's two different things. You see. If you're clouded with some nonsense, then how you can escape and how you can teach? There's a verse on this.
Is Sevananda going to have other people join us today?
I don't know. She's gone out to do cooking.
Uh, Members of the renounced order who fail to uproot the last traces of material desire in their heart remains impure, and thus you do not allow them to understand you. Although you are present within their hearts, for them you are like a jewel worn around the neck of a man who has totally forgotten it is there. O Lord, those who practice yoga only for sense gratification must suffer punishment both in this life and the next from death, who will not release them, and you, for whose kingdom they cannot reach.
This is the position of these guys. Understand? They can write a million books about, actually they're writing books to praise themselves. That's all it is. They're writing books to artificially show that how their Prabhupada is so important, and I was there. I was carrying his cane and he looked at me and all kind of stuff. Please, these are cheap tricks for getting some kind of distinction and adoration. Prabhupada said in that verse, the real thing is to get knowledge. If one is not enlightened by the knowledge of the spiritual master, although he may have spent all his life with the spiritual master, it's simply a waste of time. You know. So I mean, a sad story about these guys, a very sad story. They cannot help themselves and they cannot help anybody. And because they have offended Prabhupada, they are definitely going to hell. That's clear. Therefore, the movement has lost its preaching vitality. There's no more life in it. It's simply gone to, okay, you want to worship demigod. Tell me what? You want material benefits. You want, all this nonsense. Then, yes, Krishna himself said in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, you go to the demigods, they'll give you everything
Yes,
very quickly.
and that's a lot of my Hindu friends. They worship all kinds of things for money and cars and jobs and wives, but they don't ever worship for their soul.
No, you see here,
Men in this world desire success and fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world.
so that's what they want. Understand, a real spiritual person will be able to help him become detached from this kind of a materialistic desires.
Yes.
But they are not in that position, very unfortunately. You understand? They are like this. And this was,
If someone is ignorant and addicted to the path of samsara, how can one who actually learned, merciful, and advanced in spiritual knowledge engage him in fruitive activities and thus further entangle him in the material existence? If a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on his way to danger? How can he approve this method? No wise or kind man can allow this.
understand? Mm. You follow?
Yes. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted as their leader, guru, a similar blind attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men, led by other materially attached men, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. And that describes exactly what the ISKCON gurus are. It's the blind leading the blind, and you can't get anywhere.
It's a fact. Yeah, you can go somewhere, you only lose your money. That's where you go. Understand?
Since there must always be a difference of opinion between demons and devotees, Har-
Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyadakshipu, when criticized by his son, Prahlada Maharaj, should not have been surprised that Prahlada Maharaj differed from his way of life. Nonetheless, Sadhushapa was extremely angry and wanted to rebuke his son for deriding his teacher, spiritual master, who had been born in the Brahma family of the great Acharyas, Sukra Acharya. The
Acharya,
word
Sukra Acharya.
Acharya, the
Suk-
word Sukra means semen, and Acharya refers to a teacher or guru. Hereditary gurus or
Hereditary.
spiritual masters. Hereditary gurus or spiritual masters have been accepted everywhere since time immemorial, but Prahlad Maharaj declined to accept such a seminal guru or take instruction from him. An actual guru is Surya,
Sotriya.
one.
Sotriya.
So Surya has
Sotriya. Sotriya.
so Sotriya,
Yeah.
one who has heard or received perfect knowledge through Pampara is
The disciplic
is
succession.
who?
The disciplic succession.
Disciplic succession. Therefore, Prahlada Maharaj did not recognize a seminal spiritual master. Such spiritual masters are not at all interested in Vishnu. Indeed, they are hopeful of material success.
Bairhartha Manina.
I am not Hermani. Now, the word Baya means external. Araya means interest.
Artha means interest.
And mana means taking very seriously.
Yes.
Generally speaking, practically everyone is unaware of the spiritual world. The knowledge of materialist is restricted within the 4 billion mile limit of this material world, which is the dark portion of creation. They do not know that beyond the material world is the spiritual world. Unless one is a devotee of the Lord, one cannot understand the existence of the spiritual world. Gurus, teachers who are simply interested in this material world are described in this verse as anaha, blind. Such blind men may lead many other blind followers without true knowledge of material conditions, but they are not accepted by devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. Such blind teachers, being interested in the external material world, are always bound by the strong ropes of material nature.
See that? Anda yatanda upanimanas, blind leading the blind. And now they have given the authority because they're disciples of Prabhupada. They think they can do anything and say anything, you know.
But they read the same words that we read.
Yes.
And
And still they cannot understand.
still they cannot understand. But I don't know anything. I don't know anything, but I understand.
Yeah, because you are properly guided. That proper guidance you're getting it. If you go to them, you will also not understand. You understand? Because Krishna covers their brains, you know. Because they have offended Prabhupada. Therefore, Krishna will never let them understand. And they're so proud. They're proud to become what? Gurus, you know.
I have another question.
Yes.
Today we're entering a holy month,
Kartik.
right? Kartik.
Yes.
So this is a month long. It goes until the end of November, right?
Yes.
So I'm doing I'm doing extra rounds this month.
Very good.
So is there like I'm doing 20 rounds a day instead of 16? So I'm doing 4 extra. Do I need to do any special prayers for that? I just offer them to my gurus.
Now you have to offer light in the morning, the picture of Damodar. And in the evening, you have to offer a light, a candle. So if you can offer this light in the morning and evening and sing that prayer, if you don't know how to sing, you can play the song on tape. Damodar Astaka, the song Namami Swaram Sachit Ananda Rupam, that song. You probably see in the internet Damodar Astaka, everyone will be singing that song. So you can play that along, and while the song is going on, you can try to follow as much as you can. And then when the song is finished, you can read the English translation both time, morning and evening. There are 8 prayers.
Yeah, that's what I do. I read the English portion. Now in the mornings at 4:30,
Mm.
4:30 my time, I do my morning um, Atari service, but I have a YouTube that has the whole morning service on YouTube. So I play that and I follow along with my ghee lamp and my incense, and I do what they do. And then
No,
when
no, you can do that. After that, after you finish that, this is another thing that you do for Lord Damodar. You understand? After you finish all that, you light
yeah,
the light and you offer to the picture of Damodar, of course, through Prabhupada, and you offer that light. And you can ask all your family members to come and offer also. It'll be good for them.
yes,
And while you're doing that, you play, this is another song you play. This is called Damodar Astaka. You understand? The song goes like that. Namami Swaram Sachidananda. I can show you. There's 8 prayers.
I have them.
You have that prayer?
Yes,
You just sing that along. If you cannot sing that along, at least you play the tape, huh? And you follow.
yes.
May take a little time, but at least you can read along or sing along. And then after the prayer, the song is finished, then you can read the English prayer.
Hmm.
That way you understand what you sang, you have just sung.
Yes.
So you do that morning and evening, it'll be very beneficial for you for this 1 month. It is like a, clearance sale.
And you have special things in the temple, right?
Yes, we do in the temple. We have the deity, the picture of Lord Damodar, and everybody offers a candle in the morning and in the evening.
Do you have is the services televised? Do you have a live link that people can log on to and watch for the temple?
Oh yeah, why not? I think I can make some provision. Get someone to put you on the Facebook that maybe you can watch live.
I'm on Facebook. I get the notices when you go live, but
No,
I don't get.
it's for the classes, but for the puja,
Yeah.
they get somebody to put you on live. I'll try to arrange that for you. This evening, there'll be another about 2.5 hours from now, 7 o'clock, maybe at 7:30.
You see, it's 3:15 in the morning here.
Yeah, it's 7:30 here, so you can, come on. You anyway, you're already up now. What time is it now?
3:15.
Yeah, so in another 2 hours time, that'd be 5:30 maybe.
Yes, because I didn't because this I come on at 2 o'clock. I don't I don't have all of my rounds done yet.
Yeah, while you're watching that, you can chant your rounds.
Really?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can watch that and chant your rounds. You are looking at Krishna or you're looking at the deities. No harm.
Oh, okay. I didn't think I could do that, but
You have to see, what you're doing. You're just gonna watch, no?
yes.
Later on, you can get the tape recording of that song. And then you play along and you chant along, no?
Yes.
Looks like there's no student is interested in our program except you.
I am interested.
Everyone else is simply, still sleeping, I guess.
Well, sleeping is a waste of time.
So we thought that by coming on Saturday, there are more participants, but looks like last week at least you had two. Now this week you have only one.
Yes, I don't know where Greg is.
And what's his name? Sevananda has gone to do cooking.
Yeah, I was trying to get to latch up with Greg so that we could do some japa together, but
Oh, he just come on. All right, he just came on now.
oh, good.
At least, he's up.
Ah, there he is.
Hare Krishna. How are you, Greg? Can't hear you.
Prabhu, Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Gopinath Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Must be pretty cold out there, huh? I was saying it is quite cold out there, huh?
In England?
Yeah.
No, no. It is there's I mean the heat is going down a little bit, but I would not say it is cold.
Anyway, whatever temperature there is going to be cold for me here anyway.
Oh, in Singapore it is not so warm, is it?
No, the weather here is about 28 maybe, 20.
20. So there's no problem there then with lack of heat. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm on the equator, have the sun always on my head.
Yeah, yeah. It is
Where you guys don't see the sun for 3 months or something.
yeah, yeah, it is a different world. I believe I need to go and live in a place like this for some time for my health. Like,
Yeah, you should come over here, Can
yeah,
have
maybe.
the sun, and whenever you have the sun, you don't get any depression.
Yeah, yeah. Prabhupada said that. Sevananda said this to me. He said that Prabhupada said that in England, in the UK, there is this type of light, and this light sucks the energy from you
Yeah,
because it is for many months of the year, it is this kind of gray light.
yeah, it's very damn cold, gray.
Yeah, and Prabhupada was saying it takes the energy from your body.
Correct.
Yeah.
You need the sun, to get strength.
Mm, mm,
The sun is the eye of the Lord.
mm.
So if you don't get the sunlight, then your body doesn't get the strength.
Yeah, you're both very fortunate. Gopinath is in Texas, is it?
It is.
Yeah, yeah. You have no lack of sunshine.
No lack of sunshine.
No,
Yeah,
but in
I
Houston also it gets cold.
Well, it gets down into the 40s sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the variety.
but it's just for a short period.
Yes, Houston. When I was there, it was just still not the same as here, you know.
No, not like you.
I don't have to have a jacket on, at least socks or double underwear or whatever,
Long underwear. Well, I know in this weather, I have to bring my Tulsi and I can't leave her outside. I have to bring her inside in the house because
Yeah,
it gets too cold.
yeah, you need some kind of warm room for her.
Yeah. You get the extremes. The summer is very hot, but the winter very cold, is it?
For him, yeah, for me,
Yeah.
no. There's no summer, there's no winter, there's no nothing.
It is hot all year. Yeah.
Yeah, the only except it rains. That's about all.
Ah.
It's raining and the sun.
So what is temperature in winter time like the coldest?
Maybe 27,
Ah, 27 Celsius.
27 Celsius. Yeah.
Wow. In winter. Ah, that isn't. I did not
Makes you
know.
want to go, doesn't it?
That's why everybody, they just come out to the tropics whenever it is kind of becoming too cold.
Mm. 27. Wow. That 27 for us is extremely warm.
That is what it is here, very warm. It's not like it's burning hot, like summer in your place. Yeah, it's very moderate, very
Mm.
cloudy. The heat is contained. I don't get the kind of 40 degrees or something. It's too much.
Mm.
So that's, Prabhupada said, this place are like the heavenly planet.
The tropics.
Yes, you don't get any calamities, no earthquakes, no hurricanes, no, you know, what, drought, you know, we don't get
But
anything at all.
do you get monsoon season like in India?
Yeah, we get the monsoon, it rains for that time, a little bit, that's about all.
Yeah. th- I was I don't know, is this a disease for the earth, like to get too much rain in one time?
Yes, but if it is properly, what we say, channeled, then the flood waters don't stay, and then you are safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Most countries they have very poor drainage system, mismanagement, no? And then the water, of course, builds up, and then you get flooding and so many calamities.
Mm.
So that's the material world. Material world, uh, because of the mismanagement, as Prabhupada said. So everybody is suffering. A simple example Prabhupada gave, if you throw a bag of rice, the birds and the animals will come and eat their share and go away. But if a
Mm.
man comes, he will hoard it all, take it back home.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Atyahara.
yes, that's the greed factor. So that's the problem that the human beings have got. So misuse. If you take what your share, then you should have no problem. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's explained here in this verse, I'm sure you know. You want to read this?
Yeah. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. You understand? And if you do this, then you can live for 100 years. You have no problem, you know. Because it's a long purport. If you got time, you can read that, you know.
One may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he continually goes on working in that way, for that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man.
Correct. So if you try to live like this, you understand and put Krishna in the center, then you should have no problem. Take whatever you need and not become too greedy, you know.
Yeah. In Glasgow, they have the lowest life expectancy in Scotland. It was the coldest and greyest place on the island, and they say that they live for about 50 years only.
Gosh.
That is because also intoxication. They are very, very big drinkers as well.
Alcohol, you know, destroys the brains.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is where they discovered all this brandy and whiskey, you know.
Yeah. They're very expert. The Irish and the Scottish. It is not.
That's the problem, you see. So when you try to get happiness, yeah, but distress is already following you know. When you try to search for happiness, then distress is just there by the corner, you know.
It seems like people do everything too much. They sleep too long, they eat too much, they have too much sex, they have too much material desires. They want new cars and they want new houses and they want good clothes, and they don't really know what is really needed.
That's the problem, you know. The problem is that they're simply living like animals, you know. That's the whole thing, you know. They don't have any spiritual knowledge. So all they know is to enjoy the senses, you know.
So oh, sorry. So Magiri Prabhu shared a story on Facebook yesterday. It was a very, very nice story about Prabhupada, and it was that he had flower vases in his room, and the Matajis were changing the flowers every day. And Prabhupada became very angry and said, "Why are you changing every day?" And he brought the Matajis and he said, "Do not change every day. You Western people, you want to fix everything with money. When there is a problem, immediately you throw money at the problem rather than uh, find, like, if there's too much cloth, rather than fold it under, you cut it off and throw it away. So everything is solved by money like this." And he said, you leave the flowers for a few days until they are bad, then you throw, and then you replace with new flowers.
Can you read this verse?
In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of distress begin.
Yes.
Yes.
A materialistic person thinking himself very advanced in intelligence continually acts for economic development. But again and again, as enunciated in the Vedas, He is frustrated by material activities, either in this life or in the next. Indeed, the results one obtains are inevitably the opposite of those one desires.
Exactly what we are talking about.
Mm.
They get frustrated, Hmm? This is the
Yeah,
problem with the materialists. All the activities are ending in disaster. They cannot become successful because material life is doomed for failure. Understand?
A
Please.
purified soul should see that because the conditioned souls who are dedicated to sense gratifications have falsely accepted the objects of sense pleasure as truth, all of their endeavors are doomed to failure.
So it it's a no go. It's not going to work. You understand?
Not going to get us home.
No way. Sense gratification doesn't pay.
it's too costly.
It's only going to result in repeated birth and death. You know, it's when you get into sense gratification, then you know bound to do sinful activities.
If a human being is engaged in sinful, irreligious activities, either because of bad association or because of his failure to control his senses, then such a person will certainly develop a personality full of material desires. He thus becomes miserly towards others, greedy, and always anxious to exploit the bodies of women. When the mind is so polluted, one becomes violent and aggressive without the authority of Vedic injunctions, slaughters animals for sense gratification. Worshipping ghosts and spirits, the bewildered person falls fully into the grip of unauthorized activities and thus goes to hell, where he receives a material body infected by the darkest modes of nature. In such a degraded body, he unfortunately continues to perform the inauspicious activities that greatly increase his future unhappiness, and therefore he again accepts a similar material body. What possible happiness can there be for one who engages in activities inevitably terminating in death?
You see this point?
Yeah,
Sinful activities doesn't pay. You follow? No way out of this place. There's only one recourse to take shelter of Krishna. And you're fortunate, at least you have found the answer.
Yes.
There's so many out there. They don't know what the hell is going on, boys. They get so frustrated, they just take a gun and then shoot everybody around. At least they do that in America.
Well, whatever I did in my last life wasn't good enough because I'm here.
At least you found a way out now. That's why to get to meet a pure devotee, it is like winning a lottery, you know. Understand?
Yes, because there's not many.
Mm.
Yeah, even Prabhupada is he's even if he's not physically present, it is still winning the lottery. But the ISKCON people don't see like that.
Yeah, because they were offending him, you know, the rascals.
Mm.
They take everything of him and throw him aside. You want to read this?
Simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home.
This is about a pure devotee.
The importance of holy places of pilgrimage is due to the presence of great sages and saints. It is said that sinful persons go to holy places and leave their sins there to accumulate. But the presence of the great saints disinfects the accumulated sins, and thus the holy places continue to remain sanctified by the grace of the devotees and the saints present there. If such saints appear in the homes of worldly people, certainly the accumulated sins of such worldly enjoyers become neutralized. Therefore, the holy saints actually have no self interest with the householders. The only aim of such saints is to sanctify the houses of the householders, and the householders therefore should feel grateful when such saints and sages appear at their doors. A householder who dishonors such holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must undergo fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense.
A person who is not very rich and is attached to family life becomes highly glorified when saintly persons are present in his home. The master and servants who are engaged in offering the exalted visitors water, a sitting place, and paraphernalia for reception are glorified, and the home itself is also glorified. On the contrary, even though full of all opulence and material prosperity, any householder's house where the devotees of the Lord are never allowed to come in and where there is no water for washing their feet is to be considered a tree in which all venomous serpents live. Because I don't ever have saintly persons come to my house, I don't have sages or saints,
It's,
but I do have the deities, and I have Prabhupada
at least we are coming into you virtually.
virtually.
Sundar Gopal is in your house now.
There's no difference. Spiritual person is not just the body, is the message, the instruction.
Prabhupada is in your house also.
Yes. You keep why if you understand, then you're also carrying Krishna in your heart, you know. Understand?
But does that take away all of the offenses, and does that purify the
Yeah.
same as somebody coming into your house where you offer them?
You're worshipping Krishna at home. Yes.
Yes,
So that's not purifying.
yes.
Of course, it's good to tell your family members not to do the sinful activities. That's important. That's why you have to help them. You cannot condone their activities. That's not proper, you know. You have to teach
No.
them to change. That's compassion. Yes,
Yes.
at least you have some stipulation that they should not do these things in the house. You go on lighting a fire, but every time you keep pouring buckets of water, then what's the point?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Mm. This reason why saintly people are powerful is because they're always carrying the Lord in the heart, you know. Oh, sorry, the wrong word.
There are no wrong words.
Let me get the right words. I think it is here. Maybe it's here. Maybe, let me see. No, it's not here. Saintly person. Because they carry the Lord in the heart all the time, you know. I think I just take this verse for you easier.
I I heard of a similar verse a few days ago. I was reading, and it said that saintly people they 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 create uh or they carry
The
the
Lord is,
holy dam they carry around with them also.
yeah,
Like
that's
wherever they go, it is like Vraj.
the
Or
part of Kurvanti. Let me take that verse out. It is here in the first part of the Bhagavatam. Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying to Vidura, you know, 1:13:10. Okay, here. We can read this.
my Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage.
Super.
The personality of Godhead is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere, just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within the space. Uh, Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by his unalloyed devotees like Vidura, just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. A pure devotee like Vidura always feels the presence of the Lord everywhere. He sees everything in the potency of the Lord, and the Lord in everything. The holy places all over the earth are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged with the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out pure devotees residing in such holy places, take lessons from them, try to apply instructions in practical life, and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. To go to some holy places of pilgrimage does not mean to take a bath in the Ganges or Yamuna or to visit the temples who have no uh, uh, to visit the temples situated in the holy places. One should find representatives of Vidura who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitative action or utopian speculation. They are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing, and write the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard them from Narada, and then he chanted them in writing. Sukadeva Goswami studied them from his father, and he described them to Parikshit. That is the way of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So by their actions, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage, and the holy places are worth the name only on their account. Such pure devotees are able to rectify the polluted atmosphere of any place. What to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of interested persons who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of a holy place.
In fact, if it is said, if you go to a holy place and if you do not meet a saintly person, then you are no better than a cow and an ass. You know, that is spoken by Lord Krishna, and this verse here, 1084. Here in this verse.
One who identifies himself as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. True intelligence is shown by one's freedom from false identification with the self, as stated in.
This purport is done by, anyway, so this is done by our other devotees.
Oh, the
Yeah, actually I will read like this, like Brahma Samhita, Brahaspati Samhita. So it says here, man who do not know the principle of devotional service, the Supreme Lord should be known as cows and asses, even if they are expert in technically analyzing Vedic mantras and adored by world leaders. These things I read, because the translation of the Samhita. But this purport, I don't very much, give credit to. So you can see that if you go to holy places and you don't surrender to hear from a pure devotee, then you're no better than a cow and an ass. So,
But how do you find a pure devotee when you go to a holy place?
generally when you go there, you go with the help of a devotee, and the devotee will be guiding you on a tour, and he will be helping you understand the holy places. And if you are in the association of devotees, then there's no problem, no?
Yes, but if you just walk in by yourself.
If you go by yourself, then it's because at least you can understand if you everyone is known unless he opens his mouth. If he speaks some crazy philosophy, then you know this guy is not definitely a holy man. That much you can understand, is it not? Yeah?
But are you saying that if I go to an ISKCON temple, I can't find a pure devotee?
That I think you can understand reasonably up to now what ISKCON has got. I think you will be the
But they
holy.
have,
I think you will be the holy man if you walk into ISKCON.
even though they have the deities there, there is no pure devotees.
When there was a question asked by Narada to Naham, Na, Naham, she said, I am not in Vaikuntha. Let me take that verse out. Huh? It's interesting. Then you can see and read for yourself. Hey, let me find that. Naham Tistanti 372.
So you can go to a holy place, but you don't necessarily meet holy men.
I have to do a search now. Let me get it search done for you. So yeah, you see this was
The second one.
you can read this.
So Krishna says, oh, or from Narada, or
Let me get another one. Let's see if I got another one. Yeah, you can read this.
yes, that is our mission, Prabhupada. Surendra Kumar, that is the right attitude. Even if there is one Bhakta that is Vrindavan. Yes, Bhakta will create Vrindavan. Krishna says, Naham Ristami Vaikunta Padma Purana. I do not stay in Vaikunta. Naham Ristami Vaikunta say Yoginam Hridasyu. Yes, Yesu. Neither I stay at the heart, core of the heart of the yogis. Tatra Ristanu Narada Yatra Gayanti Madbhakta. When my pure devotee chants the glories of my, I immediately stay there. I immediately stay. It's not that he is packed up in some place. He's all pervading. Vasudev, Vasudev. Therefore, his name is Vasudev. Vasudev is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Isha mantra.
Let me get the words again. Yeah, it is here. Okay. Naham tistami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va. Yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tistami narada. I'm not in Vaikuntha nor in the hearts of the yogis. I remain where my devotees engage in glorifying my activities. It is we understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not leave the company of his devotees. It is not mere statues, I'll take one verse for you again. This is from Lord Shiva is speaking this verse. You see here.
Mere bodies of water do not constitute holy places, nor are lifeless statues of the demigods actual worshipable deities, because external vision fails to appreciate the higher essence of the holy rivers and the demigods. These purify only after a considerable time, but devotees like you purify immediately, just by being seen.
You understand? See how powerful devotees are.
Is
Devotee
it
association is so pure, Yeah?
Yeah. Is it that if one goes to Mayapur and Vrindavan, these places would be exception to this, because if you go to an ISKCON temple in Mayapur or Vrindavan, they are perhaps, because they are not ordinary places, perhaps you would also find saintly person. Is this true?
Yes, because especially Prabhupada set up,
Yeah.
ISKCON temples and all that. So if you go there, Prabhupada's mercy,
You have practical experience also, isn't it?
Yeah,
From
I stayed in all these places.
Yeah, was when you said you were there in 2008, was that the last time you were in India?
No, I just came back in March. This
Oh, okay.
this COVID thing exploded.
Ah, oh yes, yes, I remember there was video. Yeah,
Yeah, so I just came back. Actually, of course, now my center is not just to go to holy places. Of course, whole India is a holy place. But
mm.
mine is centered on preaching and helping our temples to move forward.
Did you go to Mayapur and Vrindavan also?
I go there for preaching purpose mostly.
Ah,
I
so
don't
so
I don't like to kind of go to a place where I don't have preaching opportunities.
yeah, yeah. So so
So
then
sightseeing, that's not my.
so the question is then, did you meet many saintly people?
Because there's so many devotees who are chanting Krishna's name.
Yeah,
But to meet somebody who can teach you something, that's what is required, no?
yeah, yeah.
Now you also met so many devotees in your life, correct?
Yes,
But you want to associate with somebody who can teach you, is it not?
of course. Yeah,
Yes.
there's
Like
to
that.
make progress
Yeah. So if you go to holy
um
place, you want to associate somebody you can take advantage and improve in your spiritual life.
mm,
But
you
if you
take
go there and you meet some guy who's going to screw you up, teach you how to take drugs and all that kind of stuff, then what's the point?
mm,
Right?
Yes.
yes.
Mm. So that is where you have to make some distinction. Even though they may be Vaishnav, if they are not thinking on the same wavelength, then their association should be avoided.
Mm.
It is explained here. You can read this friendship.
Friendship should be cemented between persons with mutual interests and understanding. Such persons are said to be svajati, of the same caste. The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard of understanding. Even though he may be a Vaishnav or a devotee of Krishna, if his character is not correctly representative, then he should be avoided. One should steadily control the senses and the mind and strictly follow the rules and regulations, and he should make friendship with the persons of the same standard.
Do you understand? Even
Yeah,
though he's a Vaishnava, we cannot associate with him. He is not fixed on the same understanding.
yeah, I
I
understand. I,
don't want to associate with these con people. We are not on the same understanding.
I saw on Facebook today someone had posted a thing from Prabhupada, and it said, one who is sincere or proper, the proper business of a devotee is to seek to serve the advanced devotees.
Yes,
So he was saying, like, if you're a proper devotee, you will seek out advanced devotees. But if you're not seeking advanced devotees, then it kind of, by negation, it kind of meant, if you're not really seeking advanced devotees, then you're not really interested. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential.
So if you don't associate the right kind of devotees, then you're going to be, you know, especially now, you know, you have to really be careful in evaluating the association. There's so many guys out there, you know, talking so many stuffs, you know.
There's
The in,
demons.
Yes, and
yeah,
if you're not careful, you're going to be swept away, you know.
the
That's
internet has given them great facility for word jugglery.
not what a platform for gossip, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
To
simply for
to
self-help.
present themselves as advanced.
Yeah, everyone thinks he's so advanced. He just buy a computer and that's it. He's an acharya on his own now.
Yeah, yeah. YouTube Acharya.
No knowledge and no understanding. Simply speculation. And
Yeah,
it,
Well, I find advanced devotees by coming to you, by going to the ISKM sessions on Facebook. But how, other than, I mean, is that as good as finding an advanced devotee in person?
you don't find an advanced devotee. You hear them out, you know. And if you're hearing, I mean, a devotee means his message, what he's saying. You know. And if we cannot speak the, you see, I show you this verse here. I think it's 17. Give me a minute. It is 17:25. Bhagavad Gita. Trying to find the verse, austerity of the speech. 17:15. Sure, you can read this verse.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. One should not speak in such a way as to agitate the minds of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students, but such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Beside that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. Once one should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. Such discussions one may derive the highest by such discussions one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech.
This is what it means. Just like what we are doing. You ask me a question, I show you a verse. Is it not?
Yes.
I don't try to speculate. Correct?
No
You don't
distractions.
manufacture.
Yeah.
But these other guys, they don't know. They don't read the books. Could be like this, might be. Anyway, it is like this. Or they pretend Prabhupada said. They just put the word Prabhupada said. Or they Prabhupada said, and that is another thing. I mean, it's a sad story, you know. So if you are not enlightened by the spiritual master, then your association with him is pointless. Therefore, this is very important. And when I'm quoting the scriptures, they say the devil can also quote the scriptures. You know? They kind of say I'm a devil, quoting the scriptures. Yeah, how much they're so envious. So you have to learn how to go to such people. You understand? There's either you have Krishna or you don't. That's the bottom line. And when you have Krishna, then you can give Krishna. And you don't have Krishna, how you can give Krishna? Yes,
Yes.
it's all doubtful. Could be, might be. We are. I think it is like this. But when you say become a disciple of Prabhu, oh, this is wrong. Why is it wrong? I don't know. You understand? They
Yeah.
are very childish. They have no brains.
Mm.
Here we are giving you references, we are showing you, we are explaining, and still we are wrong.
I heard recently, I believe it was from ISKM source, but I think it was from ISKM, but I heard very good reasoning about why it must be Ritvik, and it was that Prabhupada said the GBC must be my disciples, but the GBC can go for hundreds and thousands of years. So if GBC can go for hundreds of years, then there must be Prabhupada disciples also for hundreds of years.
Yes. Why they say they are all gurus? Why don't they put their name in the Bhagavad Gita in the Parampara at least?
Hmm.
Why don't do that? Why they legislated that when you do puja, you bring the picture, and when you finish the puja, you take the picture away and keep it somewhere in the store? What kind of guru is that? Right?
Right.
The guru said, no, I only take you to Prabhupada. I cannot take you to Krishna. I mean, I came to the movement already with Prabhupada. Why I need you to take me to Prabhupada? Right? See, all this kind of cheating phrases. Now, why you make me chant Namo Ram Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale and your name is added in the mantra? If you are on the lotus feet of Krishna and embraced by Vishnu, why you cannot take me to Krishna then? Yes? You understand?
Hmm.
These are all cheating. When it comes to saving, it's Prabhupada. When it comes to enjoying the asset, it's me. Doesn't make any, it's a good business, isn't it? Yeah? I would also
Yes.
want to be a guru, boy. Just stay free. Don't work, get all the money, fly first class, eat first class. And when it comes to delivering you, oh, that's not my business, that's Prabhupada. Huh? Yes? How the cheating is so rampant. When people are befooled, oh, you need a living guru, you need a living person.
It is same as Bhagavad Gita. The Kurus they wanted to have the responsibilities, but they did not have the skills
Yes,
to. They wanted to rule the kingdom, but they did not have the skills for those responsibilities.
yes. That's why Prabhupada used the word bona fide, bona fide, bona fide so many times.
Mm,
You're not authorized to do something and you do it, even though you're bona fide, you're still disqualified.
mm,
That word of the spiritual master is so essential. You cannot transgress that. Right?
right. We need
Mm.
to have confidence in people who are qualified.
Yes. You try to mess around, it's going to be a big problem, no?
Yes.
Without authority, you try to take up this position, then you go to hell. Mm. Hmm? Yeah. You want to read the purport?
The incident herein described is very significant. In a previous verse, it is stated, Vina Mahat Pado Rajo Bishakam. One cannot attain perfection without smearing the dust from the lotus feet of an exalted devotee on his head. If one always follows the orders of the spiritual master, there is no question of falling down. As soon as a foolish disciple tries to overtake the spiritual master and becomes ambitious to occupy his post, he immediately falls down. Yasya prasad bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadam nagati katopi. If the spiritual master is considered an ordinary man, the disciple surely loses his chance to advance further. Despite a very rigid life in devotional service, Bharata Maharaj did not consult a spiritual master when he became overly attached to a deer. Consequently, he became strongly attached to the deer, and forgetting his spiritual routine, he fell down.
Is exactly what's happening in ISKCON. Yes?
Yes.
It seems
They're
like
attached to more than deers.
I think they'd be lucky if they can take birth as a deer.
Yeah, they would be lucky.
I tell you, do not know what these guys are trying to do, They're very whimsical. They just want to enjoy the luxury, the good life.
Yeah, you can see in their faces.
Yeah. You can see very duplicitous,
Mm.
and very evasive. They cannot answer a question. Yes?
Well, are you a millionaire?
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe I've got a million hairs on my body.
Well, in ISKCON, if you're not a millionaire, you can't be a guru.
Oh yeah, because that's the license to get in. Got to pay people off to get to the top. Just like in India, you want to get to the top, you have to bribe people to get the position. You understand? That's why, ISKM is, nobody wants us, because we are not millionaires.
Mm.
You see the difference? Actually, purity is the force. And all these guys, they're suffering so many kind of chronic diseases,
Mm.
because they are offensive.
You can't beat karma.
No. So we should be very careful. We don't practice as it is given by Prabhupada, then we will become materially contaminated. Material contamination will bring about ruination, again, repeated birth and death. Yes, you see, we are trying to give this information very freely, but how many coming on onto our program? Only two of you. You go to their program, thousands are attending. Why? Because it's speaking what they want to hear, It's not speaking what you want to help them to become more advanced. So if you speak some kind of a joke, some, some stories, then yes, very attractive. When you tell people that you have to wake up in the morning, Mangala Aarti, and chant your rounds and don't eat any outside food, become very strict spiritually. I know this thing they don't want. The gurus themselves are eating in Pizza Hut, then what to say about all these other guys?
When Prabhupada said to them, he said to them, "You become ordinary guru. That is all. Like, not to become acharya, but he said you become ordinary guru.
No,
Does no?
no. Prabhupada said you become Ritvik representative of the Acharya.
Oh, okay. But like at one stage, Prabhupada did say to people, "You can become ordinary guru," but he
No,
said to them,
Prabhupada said you become instructing gurus, and I am the initiating guru.
"Okay." And my question is, where it says there in the verse, if the spiritual master is considered an ordinary man, is instructional gurus also to be considered spiritual master?
I just showed him the verse just now. I showed him this verse when we started the class this morning. I'll show that again. You can read.
So is anyone who is more spiritually advanced than you considered to be spiritual master? Like this?
Yeah,
Like anyone
you
you're
can see,
taking?
you read this. This thing is very instructive.
Okay.
Yeah, this verse here. All right, we can read that.
I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. Oh, perfect. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his thesis Bhakti Sundar, has stated that uncontaminated devotional service is the objective of pure Vaishnavas, and that one has to execute such service in the association of other devotees. By associating with devotees of Lord Krishna, one develops a sense of Krishna consciousness and thus becomes inclined towards the loving service of the Lord. This is the process of approaching the Supreme Lord by gradual appreciation in devotional service. If one desires unalloyed devotional service, one must associate with devotees of Krishna. For by such association, only can a conditioned soul achieve a taste for transcendental love and thus revive his eternal relationship with Godhead in a specific manifestation and in terms of the specific transcendental mellow uh, that one has eternally inherent in him. If one develops love for Krishna by Krishna conscious activities, one can know the supreme absolute truth. But he who tries to understand God simply by logical arguments will not succeed, nor will he get a taste for unalloyed devotion. The secret is that one must submissively listen to those who know perfectly the science of God, and one must begin the mode of service regulated by the preceptor. A devotee already attracted by the name, form, qualities, etc. of the Supreme Lord may be directed to his specific manner of devotional service. He need not waste time in approaching the Lord through logic. The expert spiritual master knows well how to engage his disciples' energy in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, and thus he engages a devotee in a specific devotional service according to his special tendency. A devotee must have only one initiating spiritual master because in the scriptures, acceptance of more than one is always forbidden. There is no limit, however, to the number of instructing spiritual masters one may accept. Generally, a spiritual master who constantly instructs a disciple in spiritual science becomes his initiating spiritual master later on. One should always remember that a person who is reluctant to accept a spiritual master and be initiated is sure to be baffled in his endeavor to go back to Godhead. One who is not properly initiated may present himself as a great devotee, but in fact, he is sure to encounter many stumbling blocks on his path to progress towards spiritual realization, with the result of that he must continue his term of material existence without relief. Such a helpless person is compared to a ship without a rudder, for such a ship can never reach its destination. It is imperative, therefore, that one accept a spiritual master if he at all desires to gain the favor of the Lord. The service of the spiritual master is essential. If there is no chance to serve the spiritual master directly, a devotee should serve him by remembering his instructions. There is no difference between the spiritual master's instructions and the spiritual master himself. In his absence, therefore, his words of direction should be the pride of the disciple. If one thinks that he is above consulting anyone else, including a spiritual master, he is at once an offender at the lotus feet of the Lord. Such an offender can never go back to Godhead. It is imperative that a serious person accept a bona fide spiritual master in terms of the Shastric injunctions. Sri Jiva Goswami advises that one not accept a spiritual master in terms of hereditary or customary social and ecclesiastical conventions. One should simply try to find a genuinely qualified spiritual master for actual advancement in spiritual understanding.
This explains.
Perfectly,
Yes.
yeah. It, it is. It says there, it is imperative that a serious person accept a bona fide spiritual master in terms of the Shastric injunctions. But is it also imperative that someone has instructional spiritual masters, like
Yes.
it?
Sometimes the initiating spiritual master is not always around, you know.
Yes, yes. Like
You can
he
take,
cannot be present.
then you take someone who is giving you the same instruction as what your spiritual master is given.
Like even if Prabhupada was physically present, his disciple, he may have to go to another country.
Yes.
So
He said, I am the initiating spiritual master, all of you are my instructing spiritual master.
yeah, yes. So he wanted people to constantly give instruction on his behalf.
So
But
Prabhupada
if so,
saying, and we repeat that, then you are instructing spiritual master.
yeah, and if someone here on at the moment is only accepting Prabhupada as guru, and he is only taking Prabhupada as guru, and he's only saying Prabhupada is my instructional master, therefore I need no other instructional master. This is
point earlier to Gopinath. Many people in the Ritwik camp say, speak like this.
yes, yes. This is very common, but this verse destroys this.
Yes, not only this word, this also.
Yes. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential.
You understand?
But yeah, sorry, to play devil's advocate, they would say to that, I have association of advanced, I already have. Prabhupada is advanced.
We don't deny that. If you are advancing in devotional service means like this. This is the essence of advancement of devotional service. Can you read that?
To give us practical instructions.
No.
Oh, sorry, from the top. The word jiva himsa, envy of other living entities, actually means stopping the preaching of Krishna consciousness. Preaching work is described as pakara, welfare activity for others. Those who are ignorant of the benefits of devotional service must be educated by preaching. If one stops preaching and simply sits down in a solitary place, he is engaging in material activity. If one desires to make a compromise with the Mayavadis, he is also engaged in material activity. A devotee should never make compromises with non-devotees. By acting as a professional guru, a mystic, yogi, or miracle man, one may cheat and bluff the general public and gain fame as a wonderful mystic. But all this is considered to be dust, straw, and grains of sand within the heart. In addition, one should follow the regulative principles and not desire illicit sex, gambling, intoxicants, or meat.
This is the test. If you say you are Prabhupada and you are only with Prabhupada, and if you are not preaching, then what is that? First of all,
Yeah,
you must know what to preach, correct?
yeah. If one is not,
I don't see anyone in the whole world except ISKM doing this real work of preaching. All those Prabhupada Nugas, they say we are Prabhupada, where are they, You show me, where are they? What are they doing?
they are doing, they are preaching what they say is the truth.
What they are
But
doing is that all they do is criticize the ISKM.
I didn't.
All they're doing is Prabhupada Nugas. They say, I'm Prabhupada, Prabhupada. And what they do is criticize whatever the ISKM is doing.
But many times people who say this, they are not practicing. They are not giving instructions on how to nurture one's Krishna consciousness.
They cannot because they are not so much advanced to know what Prabhupada is saying. They just want to escape an authority, I have Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada is, Prabhupada don't have direct control on your life, no? Correct? You say Prabhupada, correct?
Yeah, must be.
If you have
Because
somebody who's representing Prabhupada, yes, he's pointing you out the fault, then you don't like that, Understand? Prabhupada never wanted this loose federation of devotees. He wanted everybody to stick to some authority. And if you think you have sufficiently advanced, then you should be preaching, is it not?
Yes.
And if you don't preach, then you have finished, you have fallen down. How many of these Prabhupada people, they're actually selling initiation? What to speak of preaching? They're making profit out of this. They want to sell the initiation, Look at that. Correct?
yeah, I mean that to me that was the big thing that I noticed was that some of these people, they're not giving any instruction in how to help your chanting or uh, how to how to do the spiritual things inside of yourself, but more there's material in things like knowledge and truth and how to fight against ISKCON and this kind of thing, but nothing about how to help your prayer life and how to become humble and these kind.
They are not providing a real alternative. They can always, like say, point the fault, but they cannot give you a solution.
Yeah, they are offering like material sword, but not a spiritual sword.
No, they cannot. We don't do that. We tell you they are wrong and tell you where they are wrong and we show you how to do it right.
Mm.
That's the difference. You understand? We are not some dry speculators on some laptops, you know.
Mm.
Yes, I'm up
Yes.
since 1:30 in the morning, you know. I'm still doing my work and talking to so many people. And anyone who talks to me, they just want to listen and listen. They don't want to say, Prabhu, I had enough. Listen,
Mm.
correct? And not only that,
Yes.
you have just associated with me, I don't know how many times now. Are you feeling yourself getting strength or you're going the other way around?
Um, um, no offense,
Did
Prabhu. I'm very, I have a long way to go. So, but little by little, I'm getting there.
But you're getting the enthusiasm, is it not?
Yeah, there is progress for sure.
Yes, that is the sign. Correct?
Mm.
correct?
So you judge the tree by the fruit it produces, Prabhupada used to say many times.
Yeah.
You understand? So all these people are like frogs croaking in the dark, you know. They're only going to invite the snake of Maya. And I don't know, I don't see anybody really, you know, doing any kind of work, you know. I don't see nothing. IRM, you know, they speak all the bad things, but what is the solution? Nothing there. Yes? They don't have a temple. They don't have even nothing. Correct?
Mm.
Well, IRM doesn't do anything.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing but criticize.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, they,
Well, they keep talking that ISKCON is going to go back or go to the Riddick system, but nothing ever happens. ISKCON isn't going to give up that power.
Not at all. If you simply preach Ritvik system and not have any initiation, that means you are helping the gurus to progress more. Yes? Prabhupada said Ritvik system means what? Initiation, is it not?
yeah.
Yes.
If
Is
you
it
stop that
the
initiation, then what are you doing?
and is it that they are not giving initiation, IRM?
IRM, there's no initiation there.
So how is it that their members are becoming initiated?
No, their members
Because
are not becoming initiated.
no.
Not at all.
Oh, I thought I met some of them. I thought they had spiritual name. Some of them.
No. Those people who are getting initiated are either from Bangalore or some other groups, you know.
Ah,
IRM is because their leader, Krishna Khan, is not even initiated.
he's not. So where did he get name Krishnakant?
This is his Karmi name. Krishna
Ah.
Khan Desai. This is his Karmi name. I know him
He,
very well because I was one of the pioneers who started IRM, you know,
oh yeah.
1997. Three temple president, myself, Madhu Pandit and Adri Dharan, three temple president, Calcutta president, Bangalore president, and Singapore. We started this IRM together with this Krishna Khan fellow, you know.
Ah,
Said
and you were
until we form the GBC, we cannot have any initiation done. And in 1997 up to now, it is how many years? There's still no GBC and no initiation.
ah.
Because I left in 2006. I left the ground and I started ISKM practically.
So
Since
did
then,
Krishnakant is Krishnakant his Karmi name because he gave himself that name or because his parents gave?
parents gave him the name.
Ah, so he was born in
As a born,
like I see, I see.
you know, that's you see. So you see this fellow, and if you're not connected, it says here, says here in this verse, can you read that? Unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. A person who is not properly initiated can descend again into animal species. I'm not saying this, huh? This is scripture. Vishnu Yama.
Yeah.
So if you are not connected, then how you can make progress spiritually? You can criticize and criticize and criticize. It is not a Vaishnava habit to criticize, you know. Of course, you can call a spade, but the real thing is to have a solution, you know. We don't spend all life, all time just criticizing. Do we do that? Hmm?
No. No,
You
that is
get sick and tired of reading their back to Prabhupada. It's nothing but criticism. You know?
it becomes chewing the chewed because if it is the same thing again.
In fact, but you come to our classes, is it the same thing over and over again?
No, every week we are doing different. So many things are happening every week.
That is spiritual life.
It is moving on. Yeah.
Spiritual life means you get spiritual strength, you know. Everything is tasting new and new.
Even though we read sometimes the same verses, there is great difference because we are seeing it in very different way.
Because you're hearing, you know, from somebody. Yes?
Yes. Always engaging in the activities of devotional service, devotees feel ever increasingly fresh and new in all their activities. The all-knower, the super soul within the heart of the devotee makes everything increasingly fresh. This is known as Brahman position by the advocates of the absolute truth. In such a liberated stage, Brahma Bhuta, one is never bewildered, nor does one lament or become unnecessarily jubilant. This is due to the Brahma Bhuta situation.
Understand?
Yeah.
So if you are not connected, then how can you get this strength? Spiritual life is not according to your whims, you know. It's how much you are connected to the spiritual master. You know?
Prabhu, this is a rubber band.
No, take out. Onto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Yes?
Yes.
So the whole idea is to get this knowledge, you know. And this doesn't come by you reading the book, you know, I mean, millions of times over. It only comes by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. If that also, if you have implicit faith, you know. And how you going to get this knowledge if you're deriding Prabhupada in that place? Yeah? Correct?
Yeah.
Not,
Does that mean when it says the implicit faith in the Lord and the spiritual master, because it's referring only to the spiritual master, it does not mean one should have implicit faith in instructional spiritual masters, does it?
instructional spiritual master means he repeating the words of the initiating spiritual master.
Yeah. So one can have implicit faith in what the instruction spiritual master says, provided it is it is coming
Different,
in the parampara.
yes, non-different from the initiating spiritual master. You cannot
Yeah.
become an instructing spiritual master if you differ from the initiating spiritual master. Then you disqualify.
Mm.
You cannot impose your own, ideas. Understand? It says here.
Yeah.
It says here in this verse.
Some of the disciples strictly accepted the orders of the Acharya, and others deviated, independently concocting their own opinions under the spell of Devi Maya. This verse describes the beginning of a schism. When disciples do not stick to the principles of accepting the order of their spiritual master, immediately there are two opinions. Any opinion different from the opinion of the spiritual master is useless. One cannot infiltrate materially concocted ideas into spiritual advancement. That is deviation. There is no scope for adjusting spiritual advancement to material ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
That's what they're doing.
but I I heard one time Prabhupada say, oh no, sorry, I should not say Prabhupada in case it is not Prabhupada, but I believe Prabhupada. I heard this thing that Prabhupada said: one should surrender one should surrender everything to one's guru except for one's intelligence, because you can only surrender your intelligence to Krishna, because Krishna is absolute. But because because uh, people other than Krishna have the tendency to fall down, then one cannot fully surrender one's intelligence to them. So the intelligence must be there in case there is some problem.
Prabhupada said, don't surrender your intelligence. Surrender with intelligence.
Yes, yes, yes.
Understand? So to get intelligence, where you get the intelligence?
From Krishna.
Krishna.
Are you going to get that from Krishna?
Surrender.
You have to get it from Guru.
Oh, okay.
The Guru is the one who's going to give you the knowledge. And how is he going to give you the knowledge if you disobey him? Huh? Correct?
Yes.
Common sense, Is it not?
Yeah. So, but
Spiritual
he,
life is knowledge, nothing else.
yeah. So he was saying that if we should keep our intelligence, so that if a bogus guru comes, or if someone is a bad instructional spiritual master, or if they fall down, immediately we will know.
But firstly, why you go to such a guy, If you have
Well,
intelligence, you can smell the rat in 2 seconds,
but is it not possible though that if you take initiation from Prabhupada, and then you may have some other instructional spiritual masters, but if one of them was to fall down immediately, like, is it?
You cannot take instruction from a bogus guru. That's bogus. If he's going to fall down, then he's not qualified to become an instructing spiritual master.
Oh, okay. So an instructing spiritual master is
Yes,
it me.
we had this now. There's no difference between initiating and instructing, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are both spiritual master.
Correct?
Yes.
So if you're going to initiate the person who is almost equal to the initiating, and then he falls down, how is it possible?
Okay. So if one has taken bogus instructing spiritual master, then that is one's own problem, because you have taken.
Cannot make advancement. Just like what's happening in ISKCON. They are going to them in the name of Prabhupada, but these guys are misleading. You understand? Otherwise, why you didn't surrender there? Huh? You follow? You
Well,
can't.
yeah,
The Prabhupada said there's no bad guru, you know.
yeah, but Prabhupada was giving intelligence, and the intelligence that Prabhupada was giving was saying, do not surrender to these.
Yes, because you see, I'm showing you now. You ask me a question, I'm showing you where and where, which chapter and which place, no? Correct? This is giving you intelligence, knowledge, is it not?
Yes.
I'm strengthening your intelligence, is it not?
Yes, more intelligence means more wise decisions in the future.
That should be the purpose of the instructing spiritual master. But if this instructing spiritual master doesn't know where and where, then what kind of spiritual master is he? I mean, yeah, I can teach you to put on a dhoti and put on a tilak, you know, that's nice, you know, but I think there's more to that, you know. Correct?
Yes.
Is it not?
Yes.
So you should go to somebody who can enlighten you. That is the purpose of association. It's not just rubber stamping, you know. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So, is there a verse that says that? Well, yeah, there is verse. Is there verse? I was wondering what verses say like that even an instructing spiritual master will not fall down.
You cannot, you see, once you give instruction, you're actually on the second class platform already. Preacher is a second class platform. You understand? In the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explained this very easily for you. Next time you remember this. And this verse, purport. You can see this.
Yeah. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down, but when one is in the second class, he does not fall down. And for the first class person in Krishna consciousness, there is no chance of falling down.
You understand?
Yeah, well, I think I do. Like it says there that, but when one is in the second class, he does not. But it does mean he can. It just means he does not.
Yes, he does not. Even a
He
second,
can,
not
but
because his faith is fixed, you know.
yeah. But
But
it
if
is still
he does not
possible.
associate, but if he does not associate a first class devotee, a second class person does not make any progress, you know.
But so is it meaning that he does not fall down so long as he stays in the association of devotees, but he is free to leave? Like if he did leave, he could fall down again.
No, second class generally they don't fall down.
Yeah, so generally, but is possible, does happen sometimes.
No, yeah, anything is possible. I say no,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
generally they don't. I mean, a second class will not fall down. Very clear.
Oh, okay.
You've come to second class platform, then you're safe, and that is also a very high platform, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but first class, forget it. There's no way, you know. But if you're
Yeah.
third class, then you fall down. So
It is a matter of time.
if you take association of a third class guy, then what will happen?
But if you're reading the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita then you won't stay third class.
No, not necessary. Second class platform means he's a preacher, you know. He sees Krishna. I show you the verse, the second class platform. Hmm? I think it's here. Let me see. Yeah,
The verse that was second, third, and first, is it Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama?
yeah. This is Madhyama Adhikari.
Oh, yes.
You want to read that?
An intermediate or second class devotee called Madhyamadikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord, shows mercy to the ignorant people who are innocent, and disregards those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So he does these four things, you know. He is firstly makes love with God, worship the deity, and is a friend to the devotee. And those who are innocent, he helps them, preaching, and those who are envious, he stay far away from them. So he sees distinction. Whereas a pure devotee does not see any distinction. He sees everybody as devotee except himself. And of course, he sees the Lord in the heart of everybody, with a different position. You understand?
So yeah, if two envious people are attracted to arguing with each other, does this count as them associating with each other if they do it for long enough?
Two envious people are associating, they're useless, you know, what's the use?
Yeah.
And there's
But
no room for envy in the spiritual world, you know. That's a disqualification. Envious person got no access to spiritual instructions, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita.
Is it possible? Like, are third class devotees
This,
considered to be possibly envious?
this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, not to one who is envious of me. This knowledge cannot be, it's not available. Understand? Krishna does not give this knowledge to them. So enviousness is a disqualification. You understand?
Yeah.
Stay far away from them.
So you said that third class devotees can fall down or will fall down
Yes.
eventually.
Yes.
So does that mean envy must be present in them to some degree?
I show you the verse of a third class guy. A third class guy, you know, he is in a very lowest platform, you know. He is becoming very much interested in his deity worship and all that. He thinks he's so first class, you know, because he's worshipping the deity and so puffed up. And he disregards others, you know. So when he's in that kind of position, he's always fighting with others, you know.
Mm.
Understand?
Yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada was saying that the Krishna consciousness is not for the envious and for the jealous. So does it mean then that if someone is like, does it mean that a third class devotee is sometimes, when he is Krishna conscious, he is not envious, but then sometimes he falls back into envy and then he is not Krishna conscious?
You can read this.
A, a, a Prakrita Bhakta, or materialistic devotee, does not purposefully study the Shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a Bhaktapraya, neophyte devotee, or Bhaktabhasa, for he is a little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. This verse is also from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that one who has full love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who maintains a good relationship with the Lord's devotees is always callous to those who envy Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Such a person is to be considered an intermediate devotee. He becomes a first-class devotee when, in the course of advancing in devotional service, he feels an intimate relationship with all living entities, seeing them as part and parcel of the Supreme Person.
So a person who is in the neophyte level, they are envious of the others. The one who is envious is a spiritual disqualification. You understand?
Yeah. So, yeah. So it is it true then that the third class person's Krishna consciousness is flickering from Krishna consciousness to envy and jealousy and then back again?
Well, he can only make advancement if he has the association of the advanced devotee.
Mm.
If he's on his own and is breeding envy in the heart, then how he can get Krishna?
Mm.
Right? Yes or not? Does it make any sense? Many places, enviousness is a disqualification, you know. Hmm? No more, huh? Okay, we go and bring some more candy for you. You see that? You should not share these instructions with anyone who is hypocritical, atheistic, or dishonest. With anyone who will not listen faithfully, who is not a devotee, who is simply not humble. Finish? Yes. Okay, go bring some more, huh? Okay. Okay, wait, I go bring some. No, you take this candy. No raining. I want to go. No raining. No raining? Yes. No raining. I'm talking to my granddaughter. She's asking me for more candies. Coconut candy. So she wants, you go and eat your coconut candy now, all right? Open, huh? Okay. So you see how enviousness is a disqualification, And all of us are born into this material world with envy and hatred. Everyone taking birth in the material world, You understand? In the Bhagavad Gita it says here. So therefore, it's already in the heart, this envy. So to get out of that, is that the whole program of how to associate. You follow? you know. $7.27. So this verse here.
Scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. The real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordinate to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by the illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate can understand that Lord Sri Krishna appears by his internal potencies. But those who are deluded by duality and nescience think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by material energies. This is their misfortune. Such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in the dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc., thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I am the master of this house, I am the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Understand?
A little bit too well, I understand that one.
It's all there, you know. All we need to is know them, you know, properly. So already this is our disease, to become envious, you know. And it becomes more widespread when we get entangled with women, you know. Then the enviousness becomes more rampant. In other words,
Yeah.
sex life breed about envy, you know. You understand? That's why they call themselves envious householders. Why they use the word envious for householders? There's always envying the others.
Yeah, this is very powerful preaching to hear that, like, this to that what the mind dwells on, and how it is delusion.
Yes. So that's why householder ashram is a very difficult ashram. I don't want to frighten you. Anyway, since you asked me this question, you want to read them?
The spiritual world, which consists of 3/4 of the Lord's energy, is situated beyond this material world and is especially meant for those who will never be reborn. Others who are attracted to family life and who do not strictly follow celibacy vows must live within the 3 material worlds.
Right, the purport is very important.
The climax of the system, Varsamara Dharma or Sanvatana Dharma, is clearly expressed here in this particular verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The highest benefit that can be awarded to a human being is to train him to be detached from sex life, particularly because it is only due to sex indulgence that the conditioned life of material existence continues birth after birth. Human civilization, in which there is no control of sex life, is a 4th-class civilization, because in such an atmosphere, there is no liberation of the soul encaged in the material body. Birth, death, old age, and disease are related to the material body, and they have nothing to do with the spirit soul. But as long as the bodily attachment for sensual enjoyment is encouraged, the individual spirit soul is forced to continue the repetition of birth and death on account of the material body, which is compared to garments subject to laws of deterioration. In order to award the highest benefit of human life, the Varsham system trains the follower to adapt to the vows of celibacy, beginning from the order of Brahmacharya. The Brahmacharya life is for students who are educated to follow strictly the vow of celibacy. Youngsters who have had no taste for sex life can easily follow the vow of celibacy. And once fixed in the principle of such life, one can very easily continue to the highest perfection stage, attaining the kingdom of the 3/4 energy of the Lord. It is already explained that in the cosmos of 3/4 energy of the Lord, there is neither death nor fear, and one is full of the blissful life, happiness, and knowledge. A householder attached to family life can easily give up such life of sex indulgence if he has been trained in the principles of life of the Brahmacharya. A householder is recommended to quit home at the end of 50 years and to live a life in the forest. Then, fully detached from family affection, he may accept the order of renunciation of the sannyasi, fully engaged in the service of the Lord. Any form of religious principles in which the followers are trained to pursue the vow of celibacy is good for the human being, because only those who are trained in that way can end the miserable life of material existence. The principles of nirvana are recommended by Lord Buddha are also meant for ending the miserable life of material existence. And this process is the highest degree is recommended here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, with clear perception of the ideal perfection. Although basically there is no difference between the process of Buddhists, Sanskritas, and Vaishnavanites, the promotion to the highest status of perfection, namely freedom from birth and death, anxiety, and fearfulness. Not one of these processes allows the follower to break the vow of celibacy. The householder and persons who have deliberately broken the vow of celibacy cannot enter into the kingdom of deathlessness. The pious householders or the fallen yogas or the fallen transcendentalists can be promoted to the higher planets within the material world, 1/4 of the energy of the Lord, but they will fail to enter the kingdom of the deathlessness. The Abhagvartas are those who have broken the vow of celibacy. The Vanaprasaryas are those retired from family life, and the Sanshanists, or the renounced persons cannot break the vow of celibacy if they want success in the process. The Brahmacharyas, the Vashpasas, and the Sanshanists do not intend to take rebirth, nor are they meant for secretly indulging in sex life. Such a fall down by the spiritualist may be compensated by another chance for human life in good families of learned brahmacharyas or of rich merchants for another term of elevation. But the best thing is to attain the highest perfection of deathlessness as soon as the human form of life is attained. Otherwise, the whole policy of human life proved to be a total failure. Lord Chaitanya was very strict in advising his followers in this matter of celibacy. One of his personal attendants, Hardasya, was severely punished by Lord Chaitanya because of his failure to observe the vow of celibacy. For transcendentalists, therefore, who at all wants to be promoted to the kingdom beyond material miseries, it is worse than suicide. to deliberately indulge in sex life, especially in the renounced order of life. Sex life in the renounced order of life is the most perverted form of religious life, and such misguided persons can only be saved if by chance he meets a pure devotee. You're muted.
Yeah, you're Prabhu, you're muted. Okay.
I said that's why nobody want to come to ISKM, you know,
Why is it?
because we're speaking like this.
Oh,
True.
because they are in the renounced order, but they wish to keep their sex life.
Yes, in fact, that one of the Swamijis wanted to push for GBC motion to get sannyasi to have sex, allow them to have sex once a month, you know.
Who is that they are saying?
One of the sannyasis, he wanted to get permission from the GBC so to give them permission to have sex at least once a month, you know.
Yes, yes, they are saying like this is very.
Can you imagine this?
No,
This
I
is,
can't.
I'm
I
telling
mean,
you, this is real nonsense.
nothing is surprising at this stage. Female Diksha gurus, everything. Like,
Very pathetical. Even the householders, you are not allowed to have free sex, you know, if they want to make it. So we have to
Yes.
be very, you know, we have to work our way to get purified, you know, and only by catching hold of Krishna's lotus feet and the spiritual master lotus feet that we can attain this objective. Otherwise, it's very difficult to give up sex life, you know. It says here, you know, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this verse is quoted, you know. Kamadinam kati katita palita dur nidesa, you know. Here it says, let me take this verse out. Yeah, it is here. Madhya 22:16.
Oh, my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of the Udar dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I'm giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. This verse is also quoted in the Bhakti Rasma Sindhu. When we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are saying Hari, O energy of Lord, O my Lord Krishna. In this way, we are simply addressing the Lord and his spiritual potency, represented by Radha Krishna and Sita Ramna and Lakshmi Narayana. The devotees always praise the Lord and his internal energy consort so that he may engage in their transcendental loving service. When the conditioned soul attains his real spiritual energy and fully surrenders unto the Lord's lotus feet, he tries to engage in the Lord's service. This is real constitutional position of the living entity.
Yeah. Oh my Lord, there is no limit to. Oh wait, you've read this already, have you? Oh, you're muted, Prabhu, again. I think he knows.
You're muted, Prabhu.
Oh, Sundar Gopal, Prabhu? I think he's talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know. Is he talking to someone else or is he talking to us?
No, I'm sorry, I unmute myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I was talking to my granddaughter, but I'm saying there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
way about this, you know. The only way, chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam, wake up in the morning, read the books, then you are safe, you know.
Mm,
There's no shortcuts to the spiritual program. There's austerity to be performed.
mm.
You want to buy, if you want to have the both of the best of the both of the both of the material and spiritual world, then it's going to be a sad story, you know. Best of the both worlds, as they say. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
work, you know. There's nothing like that. You have to give up Maya to get Krishna. Then you have to give up Krishna to get Maya. Your choice.
No, there's one verse in the Bible like that, and it is very graphic. It talks about people who are lukewarm in the service of God, and it says, "Those who are lukewarm, I spit you out like vomit," because it is it is saying that you cannot mix one with the other. You must choose saintly or demonic. But if you mix the two, then it is no good.
No, you cannot. It's just like oil and water, you know, it cannot be mixed.
Yeah.
You know,
The,
if you
everything is hard,
want
you
to
know.
enjoy sense gratification, then you become demonic.
Mm,
You want to come out of demonic consciousness, then you have to take up this strict spiritual practice of doing austerity. Then yes, you are freed from that. So your choice, you know, this choice is yours. Whether you want to give up Maya or you want to enjoy Maya. And you try to enjoy Maya, you get into deep and trouble. Hmm? Yes?
Yes.
yeah.
So it is a decision that you have to make, I have to make, every one of us have to make. The one verse there, you know. This chapter talks all about lust, you know.
Yeah. One can never oh, shall I read?
Yeah, please.
One can never decide whose property the body actually is. Does it belong to one's parents who have given birth to it, to one's wife who gives it pleasure, or to one's employer who orders the body around? Is it the property of the funeral fire or the dogs and vultures who may ultimately devour it? Is it the property of the indwelling soul who partakes in its happiness and distress? Or does the body belong to intimate friends who encourage and help it? Although a man never definitely ascertains the proprietor of the body, he becomes most attached to it. The material body is a polluted material form heading towards a lowly destination. Yet when a man stares at the face of a woman, he thinks, what a good looking lady, what a charming nose she's got, and see her beautiful smile. What difference is there between ordinary worms and persons who try to enjoy this material body composed of skin, flesh, blood, muscle, fat, marrow, bone, stool, urine, and pus?
This chapter is something you should read. 11:26, 20:26, 11:26. You can read in your spare time. Whole chapter about lust. So you see how
What difference is there? Oh no, sorry, I read that.
hmm?
What is the use of a big education or the practice of austerities and renunciation? And what is the use of studying religious scriptures, of living in solitude and silence, if after all that one's mind is stolen by a woman?
Yeah,
Yeah.
understand.
That's the advantage of being an old guy.
No, there's no such thing. It says in this verse. In this verse.
This purport looks very I had this this where it says one who hankers after a woman's association certainly spoils his spiritual progress. I was going to ask that question actually. Is how does one eliminate this hankering?
How it does. The main thing is the food. If you eat the kind of passionate food, immediately your heart will get very much. First thing is to be attracted to women. You know, you want to read that?
Uh, as supplying butter to a fire does not diminish the fire, but instead increases it more and more, the endeavor to stop lusty desires by continual enjoyment can never be successful. In fact, one must voluntarily cease from material desires. One may have enough. When a man is non envious and does not desire ill fortune for anyone, he is equiposed. For such a person, all directions appear happy. For those who are too attached to material enjoyment, sense gratification is very difficult to give up. Even when one is an invalid because of old age, one cannot give up such desires for sense gratification. Therefore, one who actually desires happiness must give up such unsatisfied desires, which are the cause of all tribulations.
Even in old age, you are not spared, you know. You understand? Sense gratification does not leave your heart until you bring Krishna into your heart.
Yes.
There's even so many people, even they cannot enjoy this lust. They go to see naked shows, they go pay, you understand? They see others having sex.
Mm.
Yes?
No.
So it is no
Yeah,
excuse at old age, you know, you go. I mean, of course, if you are Krishna conscious, that's one thing. If you are not, that's the only thing they look forward, you know, that's the only happiness for these guys. And sex life is the highest happiness. Yes?
yeah. So, if one is to take to Grihastha ashram, it because they still have some material desires, uh, it, is it to say then that we should only engage our desires in such a way that they are the ones that Krishna will satisfy,
Sex
not these?
contrary to religious life is allowed, you know.
Yeah.
But
So
sex life into sense gratification, that is not recommended, you know. I think you read this now, the verse, no? Yes?
yeah,
So if you want to enter the household, the ashram, then it's best that you enter with a devotee woman, so at least you can practice spiritual life, you know. But if you marry somebody who's not a devotee, then you're asking for trouble, you know,
yeah, yeah,
because they are interested in sex life and you want to minimize it. It doesn't work together, no? It doesn't go well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the only purpose is sex life. They're getting married for sex life. But ours
mm,
is get married to produce Krishna conscious children. You can't produce Krishna conscious children unless you have a Krishna conscious wife.
yeah. It's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
so be careful. Yes,
Yes.
Mm. Very careful. Yes.
that is to, because if you cannot, then what to do? Actually, in Kali Yuga, no man can stay without a woman, no? Very tough, no? So at least get married to a devotee, you know.
Mm.
That
They are
way,
hard to find sometimes, because Ritvik devotees even also.
well, you know, if you are destined to get a woman, definitely somebody will come, no?
Yeah, yeah, it is true. Krishna will make arrangement.
Yeah. Otherwise, all men will be celibate, right? That you don't see that happening also.
Mm.
Yes.
No.
Krishna is three things in Telugu that men are attracted, no? They're attracted to intoxication, to women.
I'm an old man, but I'm celibate.
That's good.
Yes.
Or
You're very fortunate.
um,
Yes.
I did not hear the last thing you said.
If you can give up, you're fortunate.
Oh, okay, no, I meant before this, the last thing that was said about the verse. Sorry.
What did I say? I forgot. Sex life is the bondage in this material world, you know.
Sex life is the bondage to the material. Yeah.
Material world, that's the bondage, you know.
My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves, their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles.
How can a person who is most affectionate to his family, the core of his heart being always filled with their pictures, give up their association? Specifically, a wife is always very kind and sympathetic and always pleases her husband in a solitary place. Who could give up the association of such a dear and affectionate wife? Small children talk in broken language, very pleasing to hear, and their affectionate father always thinks of their sweet words. How could he give up their association? One's elderly parents and one's sons and daughters are also very dear. A daughter is especially dear to her father, and while living at her husband's house, she is always in his mind. Who could give up that association? Aside from this, in household affairs, there are many decorated items of household furniture, and there are also animals and servants. Who could give up such comforts? The attached householder is like a silkworm, which weaves a cocoon in which it becomes imprisoned, unable to get out, simply for the satisfaction of two important senses, the genitals and the tongue. One is bound by material conditions. How can one escape?
Yes.
Yes, so how can we escape?
You can only escape, you take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master.
Yes.
There's no other way to it. This is how we are shackled, you know. Krishna has very cleverly shackled us with lust, anger, greed, envy, bewilderment, and madness. Understand?
Yes.
Until you get shelter of a pure devotee, you cannot overcome these things. Not possible. And we have been soaking in Maya for millions of lifetimes.
So it is saying there at the end that the genitals and the tongue are very important, or is it?
I mean, that's
Does
all
this
he's living for anyway, the genitals and the tongue.
does this mean that it is more important to control the in where it says for one to make disciples all over the world, one should control the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. So does this mean that controlling the tongue and the genitals is more important than controlling the belly?
No, they're all in a straight line, you know. The tongue, the belly, and the genitals.
Yeah,
The Lord. Then you put pressure on your stomach, which then pressurize your genitals, agitate your genitals. You have
yeah,
to,
yeah.
no, you have to learn how to eat moderately, and especially if you don't eat prasadam, then how are you going to control your tongue?
Mm.
Understand? Actually, the tongue is the most important. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur say, no? Correct? The
Correct.
Yes, yeah,
senses
correct.
the most difficult to control.
Yeah, I remember Prabhupada said, first control the tongue, then you will control everything else.
Yes. So you can read this first.
My dear Uddhava, I am personally the ultimate shelter and way of life for saintly liberated persons. And thus, if one does not engage in my loving devotional service, which is made possible by associating with my devotees, then for all practical purposes, one possesses no effective means for escaping from material existence.
Want to read this?
Um, uh, no one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him.
So it's
Uh,
word here, you know, this means the tongue. Jigva means the tongue. So the service starts with the tongue, you know. The tongue, you can use it for both ways, for chanting and for eating prasadam.
mm.
So the tongue is so important. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
we must chant and we must take prasadam. Then we purify our, all the other senses. It's very scientific, you know. If you don't
So
do,
is it that the senses are, we should focus, is it that we should focus more on purifying the senses than controlling them? Because when they are pure, they are easier to control.
correct. You cannot try to suppress them artificially, you know. Right?
Mm. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
Yes.
Mm.
So you try to understand, you know.
So this is false control.
Correct. So you have to be sincere. You understand? That's why there should be a strong morning program. Otherwise,
Yeah, sometimes in I've heard devotees speak of a sort of a term they use to describe people uh, who are perhaps practicing this. Is this what they mean when they say super brahmacharis?
I don't know what the meaning of super brahmachari. There's only one word brahmachari means you follow this guideline. It's a brahmachari. This verse is here. What is this qualification of a brahmachari? It's here. Brahma
Uh,
Gurukule.
I think they mean like someone who presents themselves as like as very very puka and kind of supposed to be doing everything, but they're very very rigid in what they do, so they're maybe a little bit stressed out. Like
When you have
someone said to me one time that the super brahmacharis always end up with the most difficult wives. That's how it was told to me.
brahmachari is never disturbed in any situation. Understand?
I did not hear.
I take you the verse. Seven 21. 7:12:1. Yeah, this is the verse.
A student should practice completely controlling his. Sorry, Narada Muni said, a student should practice completely controlling his senses. He should be submissive and should have an attitude of firm friendship for the spiritual master. With a great vow, the brahmachari should live at the Gurukul only for the benefit of the Guru.
You understand?
Yeah.
That is brahmachari. And he becomes super because he is getting strength.
Yes, yes. I, I, I think they meant in different way that he was super because he was taking the position of the supreme.
Oh, that's nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
He's getting strength. Then yes, then Maya cannot touch him. You understand?
Yes, yeah.
Maya Maya can erode anybody. That's why the devotee is always humble. They always act like a fallen person.
Mm.
Even how advanced they are, they're always acting like a neophyte. Understand?
Yeah, understood.
Hmm? See this verse here, even how advanced you are, you're always acting like
Although pure devotee standard is above all, he still considers himself to be in the lowest stage of life.
see that.
Yeah, this is very like simple living, high thinking.
Yeah, you can only come to this when you become more and more advanced. And more advanced, you always think yourself lower and lower and lower.
So is it that the standard requires the high thinking, and then the simple living is the natural consequence?
Yes, just like when you eat food, the natural constant that you feel satisfied, you know, the hunger
Yeah.
is, and you're getting strength. This all the byproducts. So the moment you become spiritually advanced, all this follows one after the other. Hmm? So I guess I must have bored you for a long time.
Not at all.
I guess I have to take leave for now and try to meet you again. Hmm?
Okay. Thank you, Sundar Gopal Prabhu.
I think you're a loyal, ardent follower. Devananda is so caught up, he has to run out and cook every time, you know.
He's busy.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe you can play this tape back again, you know, this recording. I have to send you those recordings actually.
Yeah. Yeah, he told me today you would he said he would pass it on to me when you send it to him.
Yes. I am not so expert in this field, you know, how to get it downloaded and all that, but I will try to learn and get to you as soon as I can. Hmm?
Okay, thank you. It would be very good. Thank you.
To have your kind association
Yeah.
kept me.
Thank you for your association, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Also, oh, and we can share the video also with other people, is it?
Definitely you can share it. Hmm?
Yeah. Okay. Jai. Hare Krishna.
I'll stop the recording.